Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome again to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. Always appreciate when you come on and say hi to us, and we appreciate it big time. Okay, so trying to find my notes here. Okay. And Mume, let me just see here. Looks like some new people. Michael and John and Pat and Denise and Kim. Hold on a minute. I got to go back. Mume and Carrie. Now, Mume, where are you from? All around the world. Last night, if you had a chance, we had our seminar on bulletproofing the lungs, and boy, what a big crowd and people from all over the world. We appreciate that. Okay, so Diane, good morning, bonjour. Rosa, Jerry, our friend in Nouveau-Brunswick, Carol, how are you? Let me see if I say this right. Lori, I got your name easy, but wait a minute, let me say it again. Slavanta. No. Lana is at the end. So Solana. How does that sound? Solana? Is that close? Okay. Forgive me if I murdered your name. Okay. And Kristen, how are you? Janice, Guylaine, Micheline, Keith's on with us. Grace, Claudette, and Rowida. You guys are great. Thanks again for coming on. Jeanette, Kathy, and Anna, and Morris from North Bay. Maria. How are you, Maria? Hope you're doing well. Jeanette, you're appreciated. Nick is on with us this morning. Nellie, Nadine, Josette, and Maria. Lots of folks on with us. Okay, I don't want to miss anybody, but I know I will. Mo, Roma, Yolande, bonjour, Yolande. I have to look for your name, Yolande, but you're not coming up fast. I don't know why. Anyways, here's what we're going to do this morning, okay? Because Nick asked me, and because I've been thinking about this, somebody asked me the other day, and I think it's important we look at this. And the question was asked, dementia. But what about early dementia? Doc, what do you recommend? Okay. Now listen, what I recommend is drastic. But as I've said multiple times, who on God's earth want to outlive their brain? Right? Who wants to outlive their brain? Who wants to get dementia or Alzheimer's? You know what? It's sad. It really is. And COVID, I think, to some extent has exposed the way we treat our seniors, right? I think it's got exposed. You know, they were locked down. People couldn't visit them. And, you know, some of them that have lost their, I mean, what an existence. Really. But, okay. Now, I want to tell you, I've been talking about dementia, Alzheimer's for a multitude of years. Memory, the memory center, your hippocampus. So all week, right up till yesterday, we've been talking about the hypothalamus. That is the center in your brain for your emotions. It's the center in your brain for all your hormones. The hypothalamus. sends signals down to the pituitary, then off to the thyroid, off to the adrenals, off to the pancreas, off to all these things, the hypothalamus. But this morning I want to talk to you about the hippocampus. What should you do if you or a loved one has early signs of dementia? Early. It's going to take drastic measures. And I'm going to explain why. So the question came in this morning. Nick, earlier this morning, had sent me something. Might have been posted on our Facebook group. I don't know. All I know is that I've been thinking about it for a bit. What should you do? Well, obviously, you know me. I'm going to start with the diet. First thing. Now, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. But if you could ever convince someone to do a drastic 180, you know what a 180 is, right? Completely change. The Bible calls it repentance. Repent. No, but seriously, think about it. Like, this is drastic. You know, for a lot of people, and you know, when you get to a generation especially that is not used to, you know, my generation is used to eating for the sake of pure pleasure. Very little therapeutic eating, if you know what I mean by that. You know, and it came really out of, you know, some bad science, meaning that, you know, some sugar in moderation is good. Don't eat fat, eat fat-free. And watch your cholesterol. They made cholesterol the boogeyman. So we got some very, very bad advice, causing a complete paradigm shift. And my generation, we bought it hook, line, and sinker. We did. And so, you know, you know, if you try and get someone to change, it's not easy. And this is why I am into full-time teaching. I am trying to convince people that the biggest problem in our world today, in our society today, is not COVID. It's not. COVID will come and go and another virus will come. Our biggest problem in society is chronic disease. That's costing us trillions of dollars. We pay for a chronic disease, by the way. Every Canadian, every American pays for chronic disease, either by their taxes or health insurance. But I'm telling you, health is personal responsibility. It's not up to your doctor. See, my generation, and especially my parents' generation, doctor is God. Therefore, whatever they say, and they never said anything about nutrition, so doctor is God. So you get a lot of people who have early signs of dementia, and to tell them they need a drastic change in their diet is not easy. If you could get them to listen to the program, I'll preach it every day. But I'm going to give you, it's a recap for most of you, but I'm going to give you how your brain works. in some very simplistic terms. How do you get dementia? What is Alzheimer's? It's shrinkage. It's shrinkage of the brain. The brain shrinks. And the number one culprit is sugar. Sugar does not belong in the brain. Your body does everything, like your brain likes sugar. If you eat it, it will take it and say, come here, sugar, come here, I need that. Because your brain, even though it's very small, is always looking for fuel. It's looking for fuel. I'm going to show you how to change the fuel to go to rocket fuel and not sugar. Your brain will respond to that, and it'll respond rapidly. But it's not easy. You got a lifetime of bad habits. Not easy to change that. But sugar, what it does, it saturates the brain. Especially in the memory center called the hippocampus. And if you are a sugarholic or a carbaholic, remember, carbs are going to be sugars rapidly. So I always count sugar and crappy carbs. They're going to be sugars in 5 seconds. Oh, Dr. Martin, I'm eating muffins and bagels. I know. And they're going to be sugar in 5 seconds. It's an all-grain bagel. It's a multi-grain bagel. It's an everything bagel. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's going to be sugar in 5 seconds. Plus, you're going to need an enormous amount of insulin to go get that sugar in your brain. Now, I've talked to you about this before, but I'll repeat it. The problem with insulin resistance, when your cells don't respond to insulin like they used to because we've been eating too many crappy carbohydrates and sugars, the blood-brain barrier changes. It won't allow insulin to go into the brain to retrieve the sugar. Sugar that stays in the brain now saturates the brain cells, the memory center cells. So it's going to take a drastic reset. You'll see it when the new book comes out. I talk about the brain and the memory center. It's so key. So if you can get your loved ones, change their diet drastically. Do you want to save your brain? You must change your diet. 180. Start with 30 days. Why do diabetics, by the way, why do diabetics, think about this for a minute, why do diabetics are 50% more likely to be suffering with Alzheimer's or dementia? It's 50% higher. Yeah. Now, blood supply has an effect too, of course. I've always told you that sugar, and when insulin can't do its job properly, insulin resistant, you're just going to pour more and more insulin. Insulin will have to do its job, but the problem is in the brain, it has trouble. It can't get across that blood-brain barrier like it used to. When brain cells are saturated with sugar. Guess what they do? And they shrink, 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 and they shrink, shrink, shrink. They do. So, numero uno, if you have a loved one, 2, who has early signs, if you can get it early, remove sugar, crappy carbs from their diet. And that's why I created the reset, by the way. I did not create the reset for weight loss. Now, if you're going to do a diet, there's nothing healthier for you. Scientifically, it's the best. Number 1. It is so nutrient dense. Your cells will no longer, a lot of people are starving, even though they don't look like they're starving. But their cells are starving. Their cells are starving. But they're bad eaters, so their cells don't get what they need. Now you can survive. Your body is unbelievable. You can mistreat it for a long time for some people. Yeah, but Doc, I love my candies. You're going to pay for that. So, number 1, a loved one. Give them this video. Soon to be a podcast. No more sugar. Nada. 0. Now, you can have a few fruits, but not during the 30-day reset. The reset is meant to be drastic. It's drastic. It's an enormous change. But does it ever work for the brain? So that's the first thing you would do. Do the reset. It will change the blood-brain barrier at the brain level. It will allow insulin to go into the brain and mop up the sugars. You're going to restore metabolically the brain. So 1, remove. You must remove sugar. If you can get a loved one, a parent, a sister, a brother, usually with early dementia, they know it. They're frustrated. Show them the video. It's drastic, but it works. 2, okay, 1, remove. 2, replace. Your brain needs fat. You must replace. Remember what happened in the hippocampus. Your brain was shrinking. The brain is shrinking. You need to get fat back in those cells. And the only way to get fat in the cells is to eat fat. Steak. Roast beef. Skin on the chicken, ladies. You insist on eating chicken? Well, have the skin. Don't have the skinless. Your brain needs it. Your brain is fat. The neurotransmitters are fat. So replace sugar. Remove, replace fat. The lost fat. The lost fat. You have to replace it. Saturated fat is good for you. I'm sorry to disappoint so many people with that. Oh, Doc, I'm eating fat-free yogurt. Yeah. Why are you eating that stuff? We went fat-free. We were on an experiment for 40, 50 years. Did it work? It made us fatter and sicker. Fatter and sicker. The fat-free diet. It was the craziest thing that we could do to ourselves. Get out some blubber and eat it. I mean it. Replace fat. Restore. How do you like that? I'm sticking to the R's. Restore your DHA. You know what DHA is? It's omega-3 on steroids. Why is it so key? Because your brain is made up of DHA. There's a specific fatty acid in your brain. It's called DHA. 20% of your brain is made up specifically of DHA. I take DHA every day. I mean, it does a lot of other things. I've talked to you about what it does for the heart. A new study came out the other day, and maybe I'll talk about it, on the heart and DHA. And you know, isn't it interesting that finally the studies are talking about therapeutic doses. You know what? If you just want to take one omega-3 a day, read your label and find out how much DHA there is in there. If you want to change your brain, you need to do therapeutic doses, okay? Look, I get it. You know, like you can go to Costco and buy omega-3. I'm not against that. It's better than nothing. But if you want to do therapeutic doses for the brain, let's say you got early dementia or someone, your loved one has, it's starting, this is crunch time. You have to do therapeutic. And that's why, like when I said remove, I meant it. Oh, I'll do a little bit. Nah, don't even bother then. Don't bother. It won't work. I've had enough clinical experience to tell you what works and what doesn't work. You need to do therapeutic doses of DHA. I take 4 of those capsules, and every one of them has almost 3,000 milligrams of just DHA. You got post-concussion syndrome. High therapeutic doses of DHA. And the study was showing on heart disease that if you do therapeutic doses of omega-3, therapeutic doses, what a difference it makes on your triglycerides, and what a difference it makes on your HDL, and what a difference it makes on your inflammation. But if you want to restore this, then you need to do therapeutic doses. And you know what I would say? Here's what I would say. I often used to say this in my office all the time. Give me a month of your time. You came to see me? See this face? I said, trust it for 1 month. Okay, I'm not saying I'm curing anything in a month. But I used to tell people, you have to trust someone. I'm going to give you a plan to succeed, and I expect you to follow it. And I didn't say it was going to be easy, but I'm telling you how to do it. Do therapeutic doses. Doc, I thought you were going to give me one little pill and it was going to fix everything. Nah, doesn't work like that. And you know what? Look, if you're healthy as you don't have metabolic syndrome, if you're part of that 12% of the population that doesn't have visceral fat, doesn't have insulin resistance, has normal triglycerides, normal blood pressure, and normal HDL, see what I'm looking for? Because that's metabolic syndrome. Every disease, every chronic disease has trouble with metabolic syndrome. Insulin, food. So these are drastic, high doses of DHA. You're taking so much oil, you're sliding out of rooms. You're becoming very slippery. You want your brain to be regenerated. Can you do it at 70, 80? Oh, look at where dementia is going. In the 40s, in the 50s. I'm telling you, folks, I'm telling you, there was no such thing in the 1970s when I started practicing. Memory wasn't a big issue. It really was. Not that I'm saying there was none. I'm telling you, it wasn't an issue. It was almost non-existent in my practice. Today, it's a big issue. It's a huge issue. And it's one of the greatest fears of people, is a fear that they're going to lose their memory. They don't recognize people. Their brain, you get a little older, look, your brain's going to slow down to some extent. But you want to stop it from shrinking. High therapeutic doses of DHA. High therapeutic doses of DHA. You know what another one is? They've shown this in combination. Curcumin. Curcumin. Now make sure you get a good curcumin. Turmeric. God bless my Indian friends and family. The spice turmeric. It's very good for you. It's very good. The problem with it, it's bioavailability. So again, it's good. Okay? So don't misquote me here. It's good for you. But if you want therapeutic changes in the brain, curcumin, I'll tell you, you should see the studies coming out on curcumin in cancer. And I'm going to bring that up because you know what? In October, it's Wear Pink. And we're going to spend some time, I promise, in October on, I don't care if you wear pink, but they haven't even made a dent in breast cancer. But, you should see the studies on curcumin. But again, you need therapeutic doses. You can take curcumin as a good prevention. You're feeling good and you want to protect your brain. Yes, I get that. But if you want to regenerate a loved one or whatever, they have to take therapeutic doses of it in order to have the effect on the brain that's needed. Replace, remove, restore. How do you like those 3 R's? Okay, so, I mean, this is why I get so passionate, because I get all the feedback and for years of clinical practice. Okay? And this is my experience with it. It's never too late if you can get going. The body's got an amazing ability to regenerate. And by the way, in Alzheimer's and dementia, meds have been, it's been a colossal failure, really. The pharmaceutical industry, even though I get it, they're trying and they're looking and they're studying, but so far their treatment for dementia, Alzheimer's has been colossal failure. It's colossal. And physicians are waiting to be able to prescribe something that works. I tell you, I wish physicians would take a pen out and prescribe therapeutic doses of high DHA oil, omega-3. Now, there's probably not a physician in the world, probably, that doesn't, I think they even take omega-3 themselves. There's been so much, so many studies. So for themselves, they won't recommend it oftentimes, but for themselves, like if a cardiologist doesn't take omega-3, there's something wrong. And here's another one in the brain. Here's another one in the brain that I would highly recommend. Therapeutic doses of vitamin D. Here's what I found over the years. Extremely low levels of vitamin D. Extremely low. Vitamin D, remember, you're a human solar panel. You need vitamin D, every cell in your body. And I love it because during COVID, vitamin D has gotten lots of ink. And deservedly so. Even mainstream media and even mainstream medicine has been talking about vitamin D. Now they're scared skinny of it. They're scared skinny of vitamin D because, oh, it's a fat-soluble vitamin. You might overdose on vitamin D. How many times a day do I hear that? Ooh. I mean, we could, I mentioned this last night in the webinar. I said if we could take a survey of every hospital in North America and find out how many people in the last year in all of North America gone to the emergency room because, I got too much vitamin D. No. But they're scared skinny of it. They're scared to give therapeutic doses of it. And vitamin D, one thing about COVID, it's become a superstar. The pharmaceutical company don't like that. They can't control vitamin D. The sun. The sun. And one more. And this is what I find, and you just got to tell you what I would do therapeutically. And that would be high doses of vitamin B12. Your brain doesn't work without vitamin B12. You know what, and I'll talk about this probably next week because of just trends in eating, and I want to bring this out But you know, one of the biggest trends in eating is this meatless craze that we have. Guys, I wouldn't feed that stuff to my dog. I saw it I was watching the Blue Jays the other night. And they, in the background, they had, your meatless hamburger. Oh, for heaven's sakes. That's not even for dog consumption. But you don't get B12 without red meat. But I would do therapeutic doses of B12. Sublingual. B12. At least, in my experience, at least 12,000 micrograms of it a day for a couple of months. Restore that brain. None of your synapses work without B12. And so that's my little plan. Remove. Right? Replace the fat. Remove the sugar. Replace the fat. And restore the brain function. Okay. I got my workout for today. Okay, so tomorrow, question and answer. Friday. A lot of questions we didn't finish answering last night on the webinar. I'll try and touch on those. Okay? So we appreciate that. We appreciate all the feedback, and we certainly appreciate our folks in asking questions. This is what the group is about, guys. These are what these podcasts are about. Education. Study. No, it's good. You guys, you have no idea. You're in the 1%. 1% of the population. 1%. 99%, they know nothing about nutrition, including medicine. They don't learn it. You know how many doctors watch this program and listen to it? Hundreds. They need it. They don't get it in medical school. Okay. So send in your questions. And if you're not part of our Martin Clinic Facebook group, join our group. That webinar will be available. I'm not sure when, because I never learn anything. Don't ask me. I just work here, okay? But we will make it available. There's some real good teaching on bulletproofing your lungs, okay? So, God bless you guys. Love you, and we'll talk to you soon.